In His Shadow by meniekeime. Chapter 4. The Snake, the Wolf, and the Dog. Harry's point of view. Professor Snape had carried me out of the Slytherin common room and to the hospital wing. "Poppy, are you still here?" I heard him call to the school's nurse. When there was no response, he carried me and put me on a bed, beginning to check me over. "Please stay here for a minute. I'll be back immediately, yeah?" Snape told me, and I pulled my feet to my chest. Why did he add a please? My parents never used that with me. Maybe it's a Slytherin thing because Draco used please a lot too. I sniffed a little and buried my face into Draco's sweater, which gave me a comforting feeling. After some time, Professor Snape came back with mugs in his hands. "Here, have a hot chocolate. I need to examine you, but I can't do that without your parents in the room." I jump up, risking spilling my drink. "Harry, don't! I can bend the rules a little. Mr. Black and Mr. Lupin will be here soon. Now be a good boy and drink your chocolate." My quick heartbeat calmed down, but I did not understand why Snuffles and Moony were coming. They were friends of my family, but far from being my family. I was about to take my last sip from my drink when the door opened to the hospital wing. "Snape, why in God's name did you order us to come at this ungodly hour?" Sirius was entering, Remus behind him trying to catch up. I heard the Alpha's angry voice, so I balled up again and tried to hide my face. "Shut up, you big oaf. Can't you see you're scaring Harry?" Snape snapped back. "Harry?" Remus whispered and began running to me, then hugged me. "Snape, why is my godson here?" Sirius asked while Remus held me in a death grip. He was at the Slytherin party and had a mental breakdown when I told him he didn't have to clean up. I need to ask him some questions, but you have to be here with him. My uncles nodded, and Sirius sat down next to me, gripping my hand. Snape grabbed the chair in front of me and sat himself down. "So, Harry, how old are you?" 16. "You're an Omega, am I right?" "Yes, sir." "You're living with your parents and your Alpha brother?" "Yes, sir." "Do you do the chores together at home?" "No, Henry is an Alpha and a hero. Besides, chores are the Omega's work. Or not?" Snuffles stood up, telling us he had to punch something quickly. We had to wait until he calmed down. "And do you go home for Christmas, Harry?" "No, but Henry does normally." "When I remember right, you were a Cuddy. Did you become a Cuddy because you wanted to?" "Mother said I would get an Alpha easier." "And that's what your parents want?" "Yes, sir. They say it's my only purpose in life, finding an Alpha and bearing his children." "And at school, what do the other Omegas say?" "We aren't allowed to talk a lot, because it's more or less the same for all of us. Isn't this all normal?" I became worried. Why would they ask all these questions? "Do you get treated like all the others, would you say?" "No, I wasn't good enough for Cedric, so I'm getting punished for that. But that's just fair, isn't it?" Snape sighed, and I heard Remus cry. "Great, what have I done now? I made them all upset." "Mr. Black, Mr. Lupin Black, I can't allow Harry to stay at Hogwarts. Maybe you two will be able to." Sirius nodded. "I absolutely agree. We will take him home with us. Can you print us a copy of his diagnosis? I will come back tomorrow to discuss the details with you." What was going on? Remus hugged me more, and Snape nodded and let us go to the fireplace. Severus took me out of Remus's hug and pushed me with him through the fireplace. "Number 12 Grindelwald's place." Then he threw the powder on the ground, and we were traveling. I vaguely recognized the place we were in from about 2 years ago, when Father had taken Henry to the Quidditch World Cup and had us meet Sirius. Somehow, Henry already knew him. I felt secluded that day. Suddenly, I was picked up and carried upstairs. "So, Harry, this is your room. I know it's really not much, but we can change it whenever you want." The room held a green color with Slytherin slimbers all over it. Do you want me to clean it? I asked, not sure what to do with the room. That's all for tomorrow, cub. Now lay down. On the bed and sleep, yeah? Sirius said, lying me down. He switched off the light, leaving me alone. I was only able to sleep for about 5 hours before I woke up again. I didn't want to seem ungrateful for what they gave me, so I started cleaning the room they had given me, making me realize that I wasn't worthy of such a big and nice room. It had a big window on its right, and a lot of light could come in. And I had taken down all the posters, thrown out the rubbish, and cleaned the floor, dusted the furniture. The room seemed even bigger and friendlier to me. It's around 6 in the morning, so it was time to make breakfast. I made my way downstairs into the kitchen. I checked what was in the fridge and in the cupboards, and noticed a lot of meat, but also some sweet stuff. I was used to making some stuff every day, so I picked up the ingredients to make fresh bread for tomorrow. When I had put the bread to rest, I started with the protein, eggs, sausage, and some meat. At last, pancakes. I must have been too loud because I could hear 2 pairs of feet making their way down the stairs. Harry, it's like 7:30. What are you doing up already? Remus asked, rubbing his eyes. I turned off the stove and looked at the ground. I'm sorry, sir. I didn't mean to wake you. I cleaned up the room you let me stay in. And around 6, I started to make breakfast as I should. I'm sorry if I woke you up or if my food tastes bad. I apologized, carrying the plates over to the table. Harry, child, you don't need to cook. You don't need to be up so late in the morning just to make us food, Sirius argued, helping me with the plates. But I do it all the time at home, always. I tried to reason. But all I got was a nonsense, and children shouldn't wake up this early in the morning just for chores. I waited until Remus and Sirius had sat down, and I brought them their coffee and sat down in front of my empty plates. Harry, don't you want to eat something? Sirius asked. You didn't tell me that I was allowed to eat today, I informed him, kneading my hands. That's ridiculous. Harry, remember that you can always eat anything. Besides, the diagnosis tape also said that you're underfed, so grab whatever you want, as much as you want. And with that, Remus had already filled my plate. Today I'm going to go visit Snape. You two can stay home and cuddle on the couch, okay? Remus and I nodded. I was allowed to laze around. I couldn't do that ever. Suddenly the atmosphere changed. Sirius picked me up, pushing me against him. Who dare rub himself all over my cub? Remus, can you smell this? I got scared. I wasn't allowed to wear Draco's sweater. I liked his smell a lot, but Sirius didn't like it. Did someone force himself on you? Remus asked. I shook my head. Draco had always been nice, never forcing me. No, he never. Please, I like his smell. I whispered. It's okay, Harry. How about we talk about this when I'm back, Sirius asked. End of chapter 4.